Production. In the mix. With the commish, Nate.
All right, everybody, welcome to Press Pass Live, your weekly OMFL podcast show, the world's longest online CFM in the world. Thanks for hanging out with us. Happy day after Fat Tuesday. It's called Lent season. Today is Ash Wednesday. This is probably one of the more depressing days here in the city of New Orleans, but hopefully everyone is doing good here on a random Wednesday. Not coming to you on a Monday, coming to you on a Wednesday. Such is life. It happens. Let me welcome in two of our co-hosts today. That's right. We got two of them. Maniac, when you watch this, I want to get you on too. We're going to have to start figuring out some kind of camp. Four of us. We'll be here for 8 hours if we do that. But let me welcome in the coach of the Detroit Lions, Mr. Trey, and the coach of your Chicago Bears, Mr. Big Hurt, who is literally driving home. So this is the literal drive home edition of Press Pass Live. Fellas, how you doing today?
Doing pretty good.
Doing well.
There is a lot to talk about and unpack. I've given you guys the agenda. We're skipping our games of the week this week only because we'll be here forever. And on a Wednesday, I can't be here forever. I got church tonight. But let's talk about a playoff race as we turn the corner. I think we're in week number 10 or 11. As we turn the corner here, get ready for the playoffs. They're right around the corner. Give me one divisional race that you say we have to keep your eyes on. Trey, we're going to start with you. We do have some OMFL news today, so that'll be great. Thank you, Maniac, for that. Trey, give me one divisional race that everybody needs to be watching.
It was a race that looked like a one-horse race until the last 4 weeks started happening. I got to go to the AFC South.
Colts 6-4, Texans 5-5, Titans 3-6, Jaguars 1-9, but the Texans, I think, are the ones that have caught your attention. Tell us why everybody needs to pay attention to this race.
Rodgers seemed to have finally found the go switch. And I know he had a rough game versus me, where he benched 3 points, but since then, it's just been touchdown. It's amazing to see that Rodgers finally getting the train rolling at a full head sprint. Will he be able to catch up to Cincy since he's already beaten him earlier in the season, but it was only a 1 touchdown game? Who knows? Second matchup, if he gets that 8-point lead, he's got the tiebreaker.
And since he did give up 45 points for the Denver Broncos just last week, and so Texans are surging. Cincy and his Colts, they're kind of hitting a couple little stumbling blocks here. Long way to go. A lot of football, but we do have a one-game race. Now I'm going to you, Big Hurt. Give me one race that everybody should be paying attention to.
I'm going to stay with it in the AFC, but I'm going to go to the AFC East. We got Buffalo Bills, ran by Bill himself, and then Kobe with the Jets, and then even Massimo still in the wild card race in the AFC. I think the division's going to come down between the Bills and the Jets, but like I said, we could see 2 to 3 of those teams making the playoffs out of the East and the AFC. I think it's interesting to see kind of some of the late games that these teams between the Jets and the Bills have on their schedule. So I do see kind of the late couple weeks playing out to be pretty interesting.
The Jets have allowed almost 40 less points than the Bills, and the Bills are known for a great defense, and they've scored only 9 less points on offense. So I spit on myself. I don't know what's wrong with me. I guess I just had a stroke. The Bills and Jets, this is going to be a fun race down to the very end. Jets have dropped a couple games that make you scratch their head. Bill is doing what he does with his Bills. This is going to be a really fun race. As we kind of looked at the other ones, though, there's not a whole lot here. Bengals and Ravens, maybe. Ravens at 5-3-1. There's always got to be the one, right? It feels like every season there's the one that always happens, the tie. But the Bengals are sitting at 8-2. The Ravens at 5-3. The Browns maybe can go on a roll. He has won 4 straight now. 2-4 start. 4 straight, put him at 6-4. He might make things interesting. That would be the one that I would go with. There's a long way to go, but the Ravens are only 1 game behind. The Browns are 2 games behind. Little Koch and his Bengals, though, they're surging. They're run 6 in a row, 5 home wins, 2 home losses. He's won 3 on the road. His team is surging, playing really great football. 333 points for him. But the Ravens, we know what Nipples can do whenever he turns it around. But the Browns, too. He's been representing the AFC. I feel like he's starting to get his second wind here. He's had some real-life things going on. I fully expect the Browns to get things going here and get things running away as he tries to make a run for the playoffs. And that's a quick look. NFC, no love. I guess we could quickly look at the NFC, but no love for the NFC.
Yeah, we don't
I know.
the AFC love at all.
That's what I was just, Denver, we won't even talk about the NFC, mainly because these races are over. 49ers at 9-1. The Seahawks have lost 3 in a row. I don't know what's happened there. The Rams have surged, but he just can't get over the hump. Commanders at 9-2. Giants at 7-2. Cowboys at 5-4. That's a kind of a weird race, but one that looks to be sewed up. Saints at 8-2. Go ahead.
Nate, before you go on, it is an interesting race because the Commanders are on vacation for the next 2 weeks. He
is on vacation, so a lot can maybe happen here. That's a good point by you. Let's see what the Giants do this week. This is the week that they can start to step in there and make up some of that ground. Saints at 8-2, Panthers at 3-7. That one feels kind of over. Lions at 9-2, Packers at 6-4. 2-game lead this late in the season. Can the Bears and Packers make a run there? I don't know. They feel kind of over. The NFC feels more kind of set and secure. AFC is still a couple of races left to go there. All right. We started to talk about rookies. This is always a fun time to turn the corner. On the next show, which is just, 5 days away already because it's Wednesday, we're going to start to talk about Nate's power rankings. It's time to come out with a new set of power rankings. But this is a good time to pause and look at a couple of rookies and talk about some rookies that might have some impacts on the season. So let's talk about some dudes that we think could impact the season at the end in the playoffs. Who are some rookies that can make a big impact and change the game? Trey, we're going to start with you. Give me an impact rookie that'll get into the playoffs.
I think the momentum's there for Roger and the Texans, led by the quarterback Mitchell Knight. He had a struggling stretch of 3 games versus Dolphins, Colts, and Lions, but now in the last 4 games produces 915 yards, 8 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions, and it's provided a 4-game win streak. If he can keep playing like that, it's very possible he can shake up the entire AFC.
He has been sacked 20 times, but 18-13 with a rookie quarterback is pretty impressive. I think this guy was the number 1 or number 2 pick in the draft. He was just an amazing player at 2,200 yards. Like you said, he's got his team on a 4-game winning streak. And we've talked about it a little bit here with Raj. He'll push you deep, man. He's going to try to hit the bombs on you. He's got some Trey in him. He likes to get the big play. He likes to stretch you downfield. And Mitchell Knight seems to be that player to watch for here from Trey. Big Hurt, let's go to you. I don't know if you've had time to look. It's okay. Oh, Texans and Titans just kicked off, so maybe we could do a live check-in on that. Big Hurt, who's a rookie that you think could impact the playoffs this season?
Yeah, I think the rookie that I kind of had in my mind when you first sent me kind of the lineup, I'm thinking to myself, well, the Seahawks quarterback and that tight end, that duo, we've talked about it before. But then I kind of that season's kind of on a downward spiral right now, and I don't think he has a very favorable schedule. I think I looked at his schedule the other night, and I think I see him losing maybe 3 or 4 more games because he's got D-Money twice, I believe, left, and he's got Trey left, and I don't remember if he's got Bill or somebody else left too. So I'm going to be tough for me to really say that that's going to be an impact in the playoffs because he may not even make the playoffs. So where I'm going to land with this question is I'm going to go with the Chiefs receiver if he gets him back healthy. And Shocks has got to hang on right now because I know he struggled against Roger without him, and that was kind of the first time that he really been tested without that receiver. So I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but I know
Slider Perriman. Slider Perriman. What a name.
Perriman, that is it. Yeah, so I think he can be a big impact for him. Making that playoff push, and if Shocks is fully healthy and on his game as he's been up until the last few weeks where he lost a big injury and then ran into Roger, who was red hot, then we'll see what happens. I think that guy could be a big impact.
This kid is 6'2", 210 pounds. Yes, give me that. I want that on my team. I agree with you. That's a really good pick and not one that I would have thought about. I was trying to see if I could pull up something here. I'm going to go with low-hanging fruit, and I'm going to make somebody really happy on here. You got to talk about the Lions, right? His quarterback has been playing extremely well. The lefty, Nicholas Pritchard, 6'3", 219 out of FAU, 23 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. This is what Trey does exceptionally well, even with rookie quarterbacks. The lefty's passed for 2,560 yards, that's 61% completion percentage. He has been sacked 23 times, but he's got a bomb of an arm averaging 9.6 yards per attempt. 77 yards is his longest one, a QBR of 104.3. And as we move into the playoffs, the Lions are going to make the noise that we always expect him to make. It's going to be on the left arm of Nicholas Pritchard. He is a really good quarterback who just seems to be making all the plays. And I think he's going to be a player that you have to keep an eye on, and a player that you're going to have to know is going to be out here making plays, man.
And you questioned me.
Am I questioning you?
You questioned me at the draft day.
I did, because I don't keep up with everything, and you had a quarterback. So the thought was, well, wait a second, what is he doing with another quarterback? All right, I like it. You are playing exceptionally well with him, and I'll admit he was not the best quarterback. He was like third or fourth on the list, and so I can't imagine if one of those top guys would have fallen to you, because you're playing really, really good with him. All right, here we're gonna pause for the OMFL news. Yeah, Big Hurt.
Don't forget, and I was gonna go with someone else besides Slider Perriman, but I couldn't give Trey, being in my division, any love. Sorry,
I don't blame you.
But I think the other rookie that is carrying his team offensively is the running back that fell down the draft order, like top 5
Snoop.
pick. I want to say he went like way late, and Snoop is not like the flashiest, most sparkling like attribute guy, but when you put him in the field, he's a bruiser, and he's getting some chunks yards, and carrying the running game, which is a good compliment to Pritchard's arm.
I cannot argue that at all. I think the Lions, among a couple of other teams, not many, have really done such a great job last draft of grabbing like a cohort of players that we'll see make an impact for the rest of this Madden cycle. Let's pause for the OMFL news. We're at Mr. Maniac. We'll be right back.
Hey, welcome OMFL fans to the OMFL News with Tony Bono. And this is the second edition of the OMFL News. So let's get right down to it with the segment, the OMFL Rookie Spotlight from Daddy Leagues. And let's get down to the AFC West, and we're going to take a look at the Kansas City Chiefs and Shocks fan. That's right, Slider Perriman, number 1 wide receiver for the Kansas City Chiefs, currently has 68 receptions on the season, 728 yards, 10.7 yards average a catch, so he is moving the chains every time he gets the ball. 4 touchdowns, and that all-important fantasy point total, 96 for you OMFL fantasy fans out there. Let's move on to the next one, and let's slide on down to the Houston Texans and Taj Simmons, number 35 free safety. He currently has 19 tackles, 5 interceptions, 2 touchdowns. This guy right here is a big reason why the Houston Texans have turned things around so far in their season and shutting things down and have been on a 4-game win streak. So there you have it. That's our rookie spotlight. So let's get back to Press Pass Live and Nate. And we'll be back with more OMFL news after this.
What a great transition there. We talk about rookie impact players for the playoffs, and that's exactly what Maniac was talking about there as we moved into the OMFL news. Now it's time to open up the mailbag, unpack a couple of questions. Let me give a quick refresh, make sure we didn't get any last-second questions. Now, some of these questions were cut off last time from the show when we had all of those big, bad issues. So let's go back and cover at least one of them. And then Kobe has left us some. I don't see any new ones there. Shocks fan asked this last time that we were together, and we answered, but I think it got cut off. He said, name something that all of us in the OMFL can do better to make this a more enjoyable community. And we'll just open it up, whichever one of you that want to go.
Bert?
I can go first. So I would just say, honestly, continuing to just play our games. Obviously, focusing on FPR is a big thing. Those are I don't know the term, but I guess the laws and the regulations that the league and the community that we have, set forth and have been a long-standing. And obviously, things get tweaked. And I think just in life in general, we have to be open to a little bit of change here and there. And the biggest thing is being open and change and going with change, because obviously we're not in control of what the product or the bugs and the things that come with Madden. So understanding that that's out of our control, out of Nate's control, out of the board's control. But we are here to play a game and play football, and something that we enjoy based around the community that we have. So just focusing on that, focusing on the good things. And I know Nate's, probably going to enjoy what I'm about to say, is just diving in and try and build some content and have fun with it, because I do think when you dive in and get involved, you have more interest in it. Wins and losses. This season's been more of a struggle for me, but I've enjoyed this season just because I'm really able to dive in, and I always want to dive in, but sometimes I'm just not allowed to. But this season I've really been able to dive in, and it's just been fun. I've had my ups and downs, wins and losses, and in games more than the last couple seasons, but that's all right. So that would be my biggest thing.
Yeah, we need to keep to the understanding, like, the game has flaws. There's nothing we can do about, super edge rushers, even though, like, I know that's gonna frustrate Nate. I watched the game the other day, and Ramchick was on the ground left and right every play. That's not something that any of us can fix, but you don't see Nate going out there and frustration to somebody when that happens. They've had those situations where we just, like, both step back. It's tough. If something's frustrating with the game, don't go and attack the person you're playing against because you're frustrated. I know I've been guilty of that plenty of times. It's a matter of, we're all human. The game's going to make errors that frustrate us. Don't take it out on the other person. It's not like they're deliberately going out of their way to break the game. It's just one of those things where you got to understand human quality on the other side of, Discord, the game, whatever communication you have.
Yep, I agree with you guys. I love the content that Cincy Berg and Big Herd have been putting out. It was awesome to have Maniac on there, and I don't know why. I've just never really thought, we haven't really, look, you don't have a lot of options when people who are not in the league that would like to make content for a league. That just doesn't happen. Maniac is a very special case there. And so I'd love to hear Maniac on there. It makes me want to get him here on Press Pass Live. We've got to figure that out here soon. But I would just say, I said this last time, enjoyment is found. It isn't created for you. No one can make you enjoy something. You have to decide to enjoy it. And you find what you're looking for. If you're looking to not enjoy it, if you're looking to not change, if you're looking to not just kind of shape your game to the way that the new game plays every season, then you're going to be disenchanted. You're going to be not enjoying the things that happen. But if you throw yourself out there, make content for your team, push through nobody likes to lose. It was not fun winning 5 games last season, but kept pushing out content, kept pushing through, and your team will turn around. If you keep trying to build it, keep trying to change your game, you'll turn it around. You'll find your groove, and you'll start to win. Look at Roger. Look at others that have turned the corner. So I would say throw yourself into content, find ways to enjoy the league and the friendships and the guys, because there really is a large group of really good humans in this league. And listen, it's not a fun time right now. I'll openly admit we have the most FPR videos being watched right now than we have in like the last, I don't know, 4 seasons, 5 seasons maybe, which might be a good thing because guys are actually submitting things. But anyway, I will we will all treat you as adults. And as long as we're treating each other as adults, I think that we'll figure out the FPR stuff and we can find enjoyment. All right, Mr. Kobe, he's got a couple of good ones here. What is your favorite thing about your team this season? I normally like to go last, but since I'm reading these, I want to give y'all a second to think. The favorite thing of my team this season is easy. It's my quarterback play. He's played so much better, fixing his sense pressure trait. We still have a couple throws sometimes that make me question if he has a head on his shoulders or not. But overall, he's been making money throws. Last year, if a guy was in 10 yards of him, he was throwing the ball way terrible. And so it's been nice to have him be able to make a couple of throws. Overall, I also have enjoyed my rookies. I know it's just one thing, so that would be the one thing, but the rookies have also, I feel like I've got a good core, good nucleus of rookies to continue to build this team around. Big Hurt, let's go to you. What's the favorite thing about your team this season? I know it's been a tough season, but overall, the favorite thing.
I would just say, honestly, probably just being challenged. From a football standpoint, I coach a semi-pro team in real life, and then I also am coaching a high school team. And if it's all easy peasy and you just win every time, say B money, then it's just okay, this is just another walk in the park. But we all. I'm not saying that I want to lose, but I think it's just a little bit of a slice of humble pie, and trying to change my game up and utilize players in a different aspect or a different way. And I mean, let's be honest, I think Trey and Priest have probably 2 of the most frustrating offenses that I've played, not from in a bad way, but just lots of speed, lots of weapons. They utilize them well. And so I've had to figure out, with not the most athletic corners or the fastest corners, how to contain them or how to give them different looks. And that's just football. And it breaks down to being more of a chess match and, putting my guys in the right position and hopefully getting pressure before, McCole Hardeman or Jameson Williams or Belton just runs through the top of my defense and is going 60-plus yards for a touchdown. And so, I mean, I would say that, and then just also, Justin Fields struggled. He, started off really bad, then kind of found his way, and then went back to, struggling really bad. And I was, on the verge of trading him, and I'm I can't trade Justin Fields. I just can't. I can't bite that bullet. And then the last 2 weeks, he's had 2 pretty good games, so I'm hoping that kind of has figured out. But I've had to, really dive in and kind of, again, the whole chess match, figure out what I want to do offensively to try and get him in more of a rhythm. And not just him, but all of my guys. I don't have Keenan Allen anymore, and so just trying to figure that all out, and that's just been fun.
Trey.
For me, it's the ability that I've now started to use Jameson Williams as a legitimate multi-tool threat. I've got, 213 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns, and he's got 884 yards receiving and 11 touchdowns. He's also taken 2 kick returns back for a touchdown and a punt return back for a touchdown. It's amazing to me that I'm still finding ways to use him as an efficient weapon.
You know, you're making my ears hurt when you're reading all those stats, 'cause I'm pretty sure 2 of those jet sweeps touchdowns are versus me. 1 of the kick returns is against me, and the punt return was definitely against me. So, yeah, as long as you're playing the Bears, Jameson Williams is like definitely guaranteed Pro Bowl.
I hate when you have that one guy on the opposing team that you see twice a season that you single-handedly put in the Pro Bowl. For me, it's usually Grady Jarrett, like that guy. Like I single-handedly put him in the Pro Bowl every single season with my games. All right, we're going to go to another OMFL news. When we come back, Kobe asks, what are your 3 least favorite things to play against? Could be a specific scheme you don't match up well against, build around speed, that kind of thing. And then finally, he says, name 1 player from each conference on both offense and defense that's surprising you this season. So 2 last things to chew on. And then we're going to unpack this news dropping about Madden 23. Could be Madden 24. That's right. We're in Madden 23. Could be an interesting take for both of these guys. We'll be right back. OMFL News on the way.
Hey, and we're back with the OMFL news. So let's get started with this segment. Big name, big games in the OMFL in Week 10. The biggest one coming right off the bat. The Colts versus the Cowboys. D. Wayne versus Cincyburg. And man, did the Colts take it to the Cowboys. 41-19 was his final score. It was not close. And Cincy put a target on his back, I think, to the rest of the league that he definitely has a team going for the playoffs in this season. Next up, we're going to talk about Priest. He found the holy water last week. Well, he's just chugging it Route 44 style. 31-0 over the Falcons. Priest has ignited his team so far and in the thick of the playoff race. Next up on Big Name Big Games, the Chiefs versus the Texans. Roger and the Texans versus Shocks fan. Chiefs, offensive juggernaut, playing pretty solid defense. But that was not the case this day because the Texans defense shut down that offense, winning this game 27-10, extending the Texans win streak to 4 games, possibly 5 games, I think. 5 games in a row, possibly. I think that's right. Big stuff happening in the Texans there with Raj. All right, next up, big game, Big Hurt versus Santa and the Vikings. The Bears would take the Vikings and chew on their leg a little bit because it was a ugly game and the second half was just a snoozer. 42-3. And that's going to be it for your big games, big names of the OMFL in Week 10. We'll send it back to Press Pass Live and Mr. Date. Stay tuned.
All right, there you have it, Mr. Maniac, with the OMFL news. We have one more segment left to go, but a couple more questions from Kobe before we talk about this news for Madden 24. I keep saying 23. We're in 23. Madden 24. All right, so Kobe asked, what are your 3 least favorite things to play against? I don't know if I have 3, but I'd be interested to hear what you both have. Mr. Trey, let's start with you. Give me 1 to 3 of your least favorite things to play against.
This year it's speed rushers. They make life annoying. Second is a team with multiple weapons. It makes it very difficult to key in on, one guy. Whereas certain teams, I can go, okay, that's the guy they're going against. I can, if I want to, I can use him and try and lock him up. And third is somebody that just uses trick plays efficiently. I can never seem to get the defense to play them properly. And I always get burned from options and triple options and shovel passes. It just confuses me.
Big Hurt, what are 1 to 3 things that are your least favorite things to play against the Madden 23? Oh, do we have you with us, Big Hurt? Big Hurt was driving home, so hopefully he is safe. Well, Big Hurt, if you hear this...
So I'm assuming phone call.
Hurt? Cool. I'll give mine. Hurt, if you hear this, feel free to jump right back in. Oh, he left the party. Okay, that tells us everything we need to know right there. I think pass rushers, easy. Trey, totally agree with that. Oh, Big Hurt rejoined. Big Hurt, you with us? Hurt? No? No Hurt? Well, Hurt, if you hear this, feel free to come jump in. Pass rushers, those... Oh, good. Let me get mine real quick. I wouldn't just say pass rushers. I'd say anybody that can get to you with 4 or 3. Oh my gosh. Like that is maddening when he can get 4 or 5 sacks with rushing 3 or 4 guys. I played the Commanders the other day. He was sacking me rushing 3. Like what are you supposed to do when somebody plays cover 4 and rushes 3 and gets to you before you can, hold on to the ball? My goodness, I don't know. I would also say somebody with a stud tight end. Anybody with a super speedy tight end, those just drive me insane when they're one of the main targets. Of course, we have rules around it, but still, even at 50%, man, that can it opens up so much of an offense when you just can't cover somebody's tight end. And then the last one is mobile quarterbacks. Like when you have to go into every play thinking, how am I going to contain that guy? It can really drive you insane. Mr. Big Hurt, sounds like you're back with us. Give me 1 to 3 things that are your least favorite things to play against the Madden 23.
I would say number 1 is definitely 2 edge rushers just a dominant edge rusher. I play Trey twice a year. He's got Mac and Aiden Hutchinson, and it's unreal. And then on top of that, you also have the Packers, and that is another edge rush. Second thing I would say is a speed receiver like a McCole Hardeman or a Jameson Williams is just really lethal. And then the last thing I would say is just someone who can really cover with a DB safety and just roam the middle of the field really well.
Let me type this out because I am half crazy and can't do 2 things at once. All right, last one from him. Then we'll get to the last OMFL news, and then we'll do our last segment. He says, if you're looking for something else to talk about, name 1 player from each conference on both offense and defense that is surprising you this season. That might be tough for Big Hurt, or maybe he can do it because he is on the road. But Trey, let's start with you to give Hurt some time to think. 1 offense, 1 defense player that is surprising you this season.
Are we doing each conference, or are we just doing,
4 feels like a lot, so I would just pick 1 offense, 1 defense. They can come from either conference. I don't want to name 16 players here today. It's like half the league, okay?
For the AFC defensively, Jonathan Abrams has shocked me. Bill's moving to free safety from strong safety, and he's getting interceptions, which he's not known for. He's more known for hitting somebody than picking off the ball.
I wanted him too this offseason. I can't lie.
I contemplated it, but I knew I had my safety stack. Offensively, I've got to go to Michael Thomas. I know I gave you a hard time about him, but since he's brought him in, it seems to be working for him. 1,200 yards, 11 touchdowns. It seems to be working pretty well. Leads the league.
Big Hurt, are you able to tell us 1 surprise offense and defense?
Yeah, so I would definitely have my offensive player. I'm going to go with Breece Hall, running back for the Jets. I just think that is something different for Kobe. I've always viewed him more as a passer, but he has shown this year that he's committed to Breece Hall, which Breece Hall is a beast, and I really like what he is capable of doing before he got hurt in real life. And I think on the game, he's just kind of like an all-around back. I think he's surpassed JT or Jonathan Taylor last week in rushing for the league lead. So but he's up there in the the top. And then my defensive player, I'm gonna go with Marshawn Lattimore. I just think he is such a all around just great corner. He's got the size, he's got the speed, he's got the coverage ability, and he's playing on your team right now, and your defense has been lights out this year, and I think he but you could throw Matthew in there, but or I think it's a Debo. You just got a really good secondary, but I think Lattimore really is that guy that you can put on any receiver. Because he has the speed to keep up with most of those speed guys, but he's also got the size to play against, the Michael Thomas or the Keenan Allens and the bigger body receivers as well. So it's kind of a guy that can just take someone out of the game, in my opinion.
I have to totally agree with you with Michael Thomas. Listen, I'm a Michael Thomas fan in real life, even though I think his days with the Saints are numbered now. But 74 for 1,263 yards and 11 touchdowns. I clearly you can see what a player like that can do with a real quarterback. I didn't have a real quarterback last year, and I had so many receivers I loved. I just needed to move on. So it's good to see Michael Thomas still getting it done. And then here is a name that y'all are probably going to laugh at me and be like, oh, we know who that is. But I can't remember everybody in the entire league. Carlos Anderson, spelled with a K. He's tied for the league in sacks with 15. Who is this kid? He feels like a Drake Jackson type player, comes out of nowhere and is now helping lead the league in sacks this season. It's just kind of crazy to think about who this kid is and how he just stepped right into the scene and started to make plays. All right, one more OMFL news. And when we come back from Mr. Maniac, we're going to get these guys real-time reactions about some news that broke on Twitter the other day. I think Trey was the one who posted it in chat. And then Eric Rayweather posted a video kind of breaking it down a little bit deeper in detail. But news about potential changes in Madden 24 in the make or break season. There's a lot to unpack there. It's a sensitive subject. Let's see what these guys think. We'll be right back. Last OMFL news with Mr. Maniac.
Welcome back to the OMFL Even News with Brady. Whoa, that's a little bit of a flashback. It's Bono here with the OMFL news, not evening news. And you know what? I believe I'm more cool than Brady. You can believe it or not. Well, you should. Well, believe it or not, the Kansas City Chiefs, I think they believe it. The Houston Texans are on fire. And if you don't believe it, you better start believing, because the Houston Texans just took out the Kansas City Chiefs and Shocks fan and held them to 10 points in their game. Roger has found a winning formula, and he's starting to pull together some wins. So you might want to watch out there, AFC playoff teams, because Roger's kind of got himself in the thick of things in the playoff race. It'll remain to be seen if he can keep this up. But if the OMFL takes him too lightly, we could see the Texans making their punch to the playoffs in season 104 in the OMFL. Believe it or not, you better believe it. All right, that's it for today. Now, Nate, back to you, and we'll see you on Press Pass Live.
This 80s porn music that he's playing there. And my favorite phrase, Maniac, believe it or not, you better believe it. All right, I'm going to put on the Texans game. Let's see what this one looks like as a quick live look in. The Texans, they're having a great game. We're going to turn the volume on this and talk about this last little segment as we get this up here. Let me see if I can get this volume to go down. Video options. Uh-oh. How do I, all right, I got it. Oh, I can't do that. I was going to say I could just turn the volume down, but that ain't going to work.
This will be a touchback as that sails over the end line.
Nope. It's not gonna work, friends. So we're gonna have to. I thought I was gonna be able to show the game, but that's not gonna work because, well, it's gonna play volume, and we need to be able to talk. All right, let's talk about the information that dropped on Twitter, kind of like an insider look. They were talking about talking to some. They were talking about talking. That's what they were doing. They spoke with someone on the inside who said that the leadership is talking about making changes to the people who run and develop Madden 24 if Madden 24 flops, if it is not the hit that they need it to be, that this is the make or break year to right the ship for franchise and for the other modes. And then Eric Royweather kind of broke it down a little bit more in detail. Big Hurt, I want to go to you first on this one. What are just some knee-jerk reactions when you listen to some of that?
Well, I mean, I definitely think it's necessary. I think it's the first time that this franchise has been in the position it's been in all of its years. It doesn't have any competition, which we've talked about multiple times, and that's why Madden's, gotten away with it for so long. But I think the final straw that really broke the camel's back for this franchise was the whole franchise bug and the franchises that got deleted this year. And so management and the upper senior leadership of the franchise on EA Sports, I think they finally kind of woken up, heard the fan base and the community, and they know that they're on the verge of like losing their whole Madden NFL franchise, series title, whatever you want to call it. And that's because there are, other games that are being discussed and made, maybe not with NFL rights, but if Madden cannot put the product out there and they're not going to sell it, then I think the NFL is going to be quick to jump, and find someone who can maybe put a product out there, whether it be a 2K or, a lower name company or something like that, and give it a try. I also think it was very interesting that Wayweather put out there that, it's when you listen to his video and he goes through things, these developers have never been in a standpoint where their job is on the line and it's been made public. So I think it's going to be really interesting to see when, put yourself in those shoes. You're getting told, and I think we've all can maybe put it in a little bit of relation to it, like your job is depending on the product that you put out, right? And there's so much that goes into a video game with all of its bugs and technologies and programming and everything that goes into it. And Wayweather said, he goes, they are not looking at the sales of Madden. They're looking at what the community says about the game. And he even said, he was like, I have said it multiple times. I've said it the past couple years that this is going to be the best Madden ever, and then flop, here we go. Yeah. And it's just been the same thing. So I think that's really interesting that those things are being discussed, talked about, and it's coming down from the top. I hope that it does save the franchise, because I've played Madden since I was a little kid and I love it. But this product has changed so much, and it's almost been frustrating because I remember back in like 2005, like I loved that Madden. And so we'll see what happens. Those are kind of my initial thoughts.
Yeah, Trey, I'm going to go to you next. You posted this off of Twitter, and we kind of all had a little bit of a discourse about it in Discord that I've always kind of stood by. I personally don't believe there could ever be a large enough movement of people to not buy or to delay buying the game that would actually make any notable difference that caught people's attention. It had to be something else, and it looks like after years of bad reviews and bad ratings that it's finally starting to take notice. And I'm interested to find out, what does make or break mean? What are the outcomes that they're hoping to see or achieve? And what does leadership changes mean exactly. I agree with Eric that these devs are beheld to what they're allowed to do, the tools that they're allowed to work with. And I want to talk about Maniac's comment after we just get some initial thoughts from you, Trey, about the information when you've seen it.
Yeah, when I came across that, I just immediately went, it's finally happening. There's been, since Madden 12, it's been progressively just the games falling down and down and down, especially when it came towards franchise, because it seemed Madden 13 was, they started pushing the focus of Ultimate Team's a thing. We can get extra money by pushing that. And it seemed like that became all of its focus, and it just kind of put all the franchise guys on the back burner. Whereas, like, it was the NCAA franchise that essentially filled the void of like a legitimate franchise, because Madden, you didn't really have it. You had this copy paste, maybe a little tweak here, maybe a little tweak there. It became more and more of, we'll just put a basic franchise mode for people to play because it's not going to make us money, and we're going to put our focus solely in the Ultimate Team and making sure that generates the most extra revenue we can get. And now we're sitting here after the debacle at the start of the year with the draft, and that shut leagues down. The debacle at Christmas time with leagues getting deleted, and then them trying to write the system of, oh, it was only 4% of leagues that had been started throughout this actual cycle that were lost. And the backlash they're getting, it's like they're realizing that people are getting fed up. And I think it's honestly the desperation attempt from them to make sure they had Madden 24 sales is giving the 50% out to the leagues that were affected. And now we all publicly know that they're essentially in the old school way of things where, like, their head's in the noose. If they can't provide a valid reason to keep their jobs, they're going to get left hanging there. And it's really weird to have that knowledge going into Madden 24, especially with Madden 25 being, well, not even Madden 25 because you can't call it that, being potentially a whole new team working on it. I'm still kind of just trying to digest all that.
100%. There's no way they don't call it Madden 25 because those goobers tied themselves to the old. I don't know what people were thinking when they called it Madden 25 years ago. It was thrown out about the 50%, and some guys did not know that. If you were affected, which every owner here in the OMFL was affected, then you're going to get 50% off. How they know, I have no clue. We'll find out. I did not delete the league. Couldn't delete the league anyway because I'm not actually in the league. So we'll see exactly how that's going to work. And the thought was thrown out of, no, they should do it for free. And a lot of games have went free. And if you think about it, it's a smart business strategy. You give the game free. Everyone grabs it. You just increase, twofold, threefold, fourfold your player base, but then you sell all these kind of in-game things and you make way more money because, people will give $5 here, $5 there, $10 there, and before they know it, they've spent, several $100s on a game that if they would have just paid $60 for and been done, they would have been done. Here's why it will never happen in Madden, because there's one word attached to Madden called the NFL, and that one word is going to ever keep this game from going free. But I'm interested to see exactly what they do moving into Madden 24. I said it in chat. It's almost March in just a couple of days here. Like how much change can they really make? That's the big question. I don't personally think they can do a lot. Like I think the game is probably in final steps of development. There's only going to be so much that they can add without delaying it, and I think that would be disaster. Talk about like what was the wording that they used if they were going to make leadership changes? If what was the exact wording? Now I'm slipping my head. whatever wording that they used around if it's not make or break. That's the wording I was looking for. It is not, it's going to be broke if you come out with Madden 24 and say, oh, but you got to wait a month for us to add this other thing, or you're going to have to restart your friend. Like, if we get that again for the third Madden in a row, hang it up. It's over. It's done. It's no, people are just going to walk away if they haven't already walk away, or if they haven't already bought the game and grows. Then Maniac tossed out a very interesting idea. And to be honest, not one that I really thought about, mainly because we haven't really gotten a lot of details. So I'm going to tie two things together. The new game that is dropping later this year, I think it'll probably be this season next year. I think we're going to get like a beta of some sort or something to test later this year. Maximum Football, which was built on the new Unreal Engine 5. It's the only only sports game or only NFL game that is built, not even NFL, only football game that has been made on Unreal Engine 5. And it looks really good. It looks like if the old 2K games that were beloved was updated to today. It looks really good. I will give it a try. It's going to be free to play. I'd give it a try even if I had to pay for it. I'm interested to see, is there online leagues? Is it just online leagues for one season? If there is online leagues of any sort, I think that we could get a league going here, custom league, college league. There's a lot that we could do there that we used to do with the old Maddens back. Yeah, Canadian league, right? There's a lot that we could do with it once it actually launches. Putty T, was that confirmed? Because I did not hear that, because the launch is going to be much later this season, but maybe that was confirmed somewhere and I missed it. Putty T said no online league. So anyway, we'll see what's available to us, but it would be a second league here. The reason I'm tying that in with Maniac's idea was that Maniac said that he believes, and maybe this also was confirmed somewhere and I just have missed it, that NCAA football, whatever it's going to be called, EA football, college football, whatever they're calling it, football, is going to be on Unreal Engine 5. And he believes that the reason they've delayed that game so long is that they will take that foundation, probably in Madden 25 or whatever that Madden is called, and move Madden 25 or later over to the same foundation that the college football game is on. And so the rebuild, the remake of Madden is actually happening in the NCAA. And then once that game launches, that will be the foundation for the Madden. That is a very interesting and probably smart way to do it. Some people, like this little white Cajun dude, has a hard time believing that any of these suits would be that smart to go, oh, let's do it this way. I think what Madden really needs is a full rebuild. And if they're doing what Maniac is saying, and maybe Maniac has inside information or he's read something that I haven't read, if that is the way they approach it, that gives me really high hopes that this could be that could be a game changer if the game is remade like an NCAA with Unreal Engine 5 from flat, but like starting fresh. That could be a game changer, because I think a lot of the issues we see now are old dated code that cannot be changed and cannot be messed with. So there's a lot there to chew on, guys. Anything left here to continue to talk about with the news about Madden 24?
Now, if Maniac's got that theory, I mean, it point to go and prove that a lot of people are still going back and playing NCAA football 14.
Oh, yeah.
And like, when we're almost a decade out from that game, and people are still going back and playing it, and you have the next generation of console come out, and people are not wanting to play Madden on that, it just makes you wonder if like EA screwed up when they decided to take a change in, I think that would have been Madden 15.
Yep.
Would have been the following game afterwards. It just makes you wonder, like, did EA screw up there and not try and fight to keep the NCAA alive? Because it seemed like almost they were working together to make good product. Because at the time, the Madden games were still good then. And then as soon as the NCAA, it just completely fell off the map.
And the new Maxim game looks Cool. Look, it's not polished, nor should anybody ever expect it to be polished, but it's very impressive what they've done in a pretty short amount of time on the Unreal Engine 5. I'm interested just to get my hands on it and see how it plays. I think everyone screams for a physics-driven animation game. I don't know how realistic that is. I think you're still going to get weird. You're just going to be crying about a different thing. Maybe crying isn't fair. We're going to complain about a different thing. Right now, we complain about crazy animations that kick in. I think you'll just complain about weird physics kicking in because you can see, like, the players don't move as fluid. Even those old 2K games, they just moved different. I'm still super interested to see, is it a real viable option? It won't be until there's online leagues. It won't be until there's multiple season online leagues. But even if it is dipping our toe in the water of a second smaller league, like back in the day, I'm talking 2001, 2002, 2003, 2004, you could do with Madden PC games, you could do all kinds of stuff. So we had a full custom mode game where guys created their own teams, their own colors, their own logos, 10-man leagues, and own custom schedules, and they played their own secondary league that we had. We also had a full college league where we downloaded mods with all the college teams, and you pick a team and there would be drafts instead of recruiting, and you would play a whole college season. And so there's some cool things that would just add to the experience of a community like this one if we had a different game. Big Hurt, any other thoughts about Madden 24 news?
I wouldn't say much about the news. More just less like hope. Like, I just want a game that's like clean, bug free. Like, and when I say bug free, like not like losing franchises or having draft problems and like, excuse me. I want to see more like old school, like the training camps instead of just simming it. I always enjoyed going in and like doing the training camps.
Yeah, totally.
And so I would like do that and then like just have more. I think they kind of did a good thing with the contracts in a way, but like maybe advance that a little bit, some way, shape, or form. And then like just, enhance the games. Like, you don't really like graphically the game's there, and kind of what you said with like, you know we're going to complain about the physics instead of animations or something. And I feel like there's never going to be a game that's perfect because we're dealing with like programming and like
Right.
an AI. We're not dealing with like human life people. So it's either going to be physics or it's either going to be animations. One of them's always got to like give somewhere. And I think, for us, like Trey brought up college football or NCAA 14, like I didn't think the animations were there, but I thought the physics were there. And so, if they could enhance certain things and really improve things, like, some people may say, oh, well, the animations are better than the physics, and some might say physics are better than animations. And that's the thing, is like it's always going to be black or white. One's going to say black, the other one's going to say white, vice versa. But at the end of the day, like, that's kind of when I think it was Shocks fans' question, like, how can we be better? At the end of the day, we're playing in a community where we all have like built relationships, friendships, and we're all in it together to be competitive. So like set some of those frustrations aside, because we're not like playing this game for money or for a living. We're just playing this game to like check out of life for a little bit, once every couple of days, and just play a game. And Trey said it earlier, like we all are victims of getting frustrated. I've done it. We've all done it, but we set those aside and remember what we're here for and why we're here. And if you can't do that, then this, just isn't the place for you. And it sucks because I thoroughly enjoy playing pretty much every single game I play. I enjoy talking or enjoy, competing and playing different styles and, all of that stuff. So I just hope Madden 24 brings a good product in general, just so we can like really have fun with it. And obviously there's going to be things that happen, but like just nothing that like totally sets us back and is like, wow, that really just put a damper on the whole party, because those things, the draft and then the league reset, like literally killed the vibe. Like, and if that's what's gonna happen, that's hard to rebound from those.
Yep, I agree. I had a crazy thought as you were saying those things. I was like, "This, I'm probably gonna mess this up because I don't. Yeah, I'm Nate. But the Chat GPT, this new AI that's been released, like, is there ever gonna be a gaming community or gaming a game? It's not gaming. I don't know what I'm trying to say. Is there ever a company that uses that tool or that kind of technology to make AI in games think different and better? I don't know. That would be really, really interesting to think about. All right, let's go. One final thought. We're going to go with you, Big Hurt, coming to you, Trey. And then I'm going to close this out. One final thought as we wrap up Press Pass Live. 184. We're almost at 200, y'all. Or 284. I don't know. We're up there. Sorry.
No, you're good. My final thought is just, continue to play your games. Let's have fun. Get to the playoffs. I'd like to get, as much in this Madden. I'm just not ready to hang it up yet. I'm looking forward to Madden 24. Hopefully, like I said, we get a good product. But I'm interested to see how the playoffs shake up. There's some new names, out there. And, like I said, Nate, you're playing really well. And Little Koch is over there. We haven't seen a different AFC North champ for a while, so hopefully, we see that. Denver's surging, Rogers surging, since he's got a good team. Trey and Priest, you guys had your battles. I'm just trying to hang on and maybe sneak in the wild card. D-Money, and hopefully Meek kind of figures things out, because I'd like to see some competition over there. And bottom line, I just think we're getting more parity, which is always good. Tim, I could go on and on and on about, all these guys that are standing up, and just want to see everybody have fun with it, put into it what you want out of it, and have fun with it. I mean, like I said, I'm struggling more than I have in the previous seasons this season, but I'm having more fun because I'm putting into it what I want to get out of it. And my schedule is just busy, but it's fun to set things aside with all the life stuff that's going on and just plug in and play Madden and try and get a show out and talk about it and dig into the stats and stuff. So let's finish out this season and get into the next one and have a good draft. Hopefully we can enjoy the draft so Trey doesn't get his draft simmed again.
Hurt, when's the next Cincy Big Hurt show?
We are hoping to have one about every week or week and a half.
Nice.
We did talk about this last weekend. Weekends are probably going to be when they come out, because just how our schedules are. I'm working at a school, so I get up pretty early and with the kids and stuff. So it's probably going to be on the weekends at some point in time. So hopefully every week, but I don't want to go every 2 weeks. But yeah, but we're hoping every weekend.
Cool. I dig it. All right, Trey, one final thought.
One final thought. I'd have to say, I like the fact that, we had a rough stretch last year where people weren't getting last season where people just weren't booking games until the dying seconds of it. I like that this season we're getting everybody a little bit more active and essentially shaking off the grime that we had on us, and just keep getting those games in. Hopefully we can start getting maybe some faster sims in. We don't really have much going on in the world of football these days, so getting some more OMFL action, I think that would be better for us. Who knows? But yeah, everybody just keep getting your games in, hopefully earlier than later.
I love bad football, so I am a big fan of the USFL and the XFL. I watch that stuff. I'm totally into it. I'm the guy that watches preseason games. I dig it. So hopefully some of you dig it as well. OMFL Maximum? Is that going to be a thing? Would you play in it? Let me know in the comments. If you're watching this now, if you're watching this later, would you play in the OMFL Maximum? I think it might be a thing. Trey, Big Hurt, I appreciate you. Cannot wait to see another show come out in another weekend or another week, whatever it takes for Cincy Berg and Trey. Guys, I appreciate you. You matter. You matter to me. I love you. We'll see you on the next one, okay? So until then, peace.
Smash that like and subscribe.